Lauren Hollows for NOI Education Services, and today I am here to tell you to stop over-assessing. Guys, this is all about quality and not quantity. So often we see things mapped to, 10, 15 different points. We've got practical criteria that are mapped to questions. We've got questions that are mapped to practical criteria. And really, it's just about having a couple of points of really clear evidence. Now, often we get told, or we hear feedback from people saying, well, our compliance people say that it's got to have 3 points. So if the criteria within the unit states that you have to have 3 points, then obviously you have to have 3 points. However, if you've got, a knowledge question, and the knowledge question identifies key legislation, and you have a question asking them to identify 3 key pieces of legislation relevant to their job role, that is sufficient. If you have got one really clear question which clearly evidences the criteria, then that is fine. Now, when it comes to practical assessments and things like that, you generally want a couple of things, because you want to, practical assessment are harder to map. So for example, we might have them demonstrated on more than one occasion. We generally have a couple of different practical tasks, and a lot of them will overlay. We may have a practical observation checklist, and then we've also got a supporting document. We may also, in addition to that, have supplemental with workplace observations and things like that. So practical criteria generally tend to lend themselves to having a couple of different forms of evidence and potentially a couple of different occasions. Knowledge evidence, if you are writing the question very explicitly for that knowledge point, can be covered in one. And some of the practical criteria, like the performance evidence and things like that, can be covered as well. If it says, for example, that the student on at least once, or on, at least once does this, and they do that at least once and they do it well, then actually, fairness states that you can't then go and have them doing it 4 more times for the sake of doing it 4 more times. So it is really a balance, and it's always going to depend on the criteria that you're looking at. However, there is nothing in the standards that says that you have to have 3 points against each criteria. So whenever you have these discussions, it's really important to go back to the training package and look at what the training package requires. It's important to really just consider it in terms of sufficiency, okay? Is there a quality, quantity, and relevance of assessment evidence that you can say that that person is competent, okay? So as I said, one really clear question. You've got very clear evidence there that the person has achieved and that they are, they have that knowledge, okay? With practical assessments, the question is going to be, is the observation really clear that it covers that point? Is the supporting evidence, for example, a job card, a reflection card, like a product of some kind, is that really clear? So what you want to look at is you want to look at the performance criteria, or the PE, or the KE, and basically say, is there a quality, quantity, and relevance of assessment evidence? And that doesn't mean we've assessed it, okay? As in, we've got an instruction for a student somewhere. What that very clearly means is do we have evidence? What is the evidence going to look like? So when we go back and do our validation, what is the evidence going to look like that that criteria is in there, that that student has evidenced that criteria, and that they are competent in that particular criteria? Okay, so that's what you're going to be looking for. It's not a numbers game. This is not that it's not black and white, in vet. It's looking at the evidence and making a determination as a group as to whether or not the evidence is there. Sometimes one is going to be enough. Sometimes you are going to need multiple, okay? And keep in mind that this is the assessment. This is the final time. So generally, we have actually observed our students do it on a prior occasion. Hopefully, while we are training them, you have seen them do this skill already. And so this is just the final summative assessment. This is just the final evidencing of the competency. I hope this helps, guys. My name is Lauren Hollows for NOI Education Services. As always, like, comment, share to continue to support us. Bye.